our meeting at 6:00.
Yeah.
Welcome, 2026. Let's stand for the flag salute, please. John, would you like to lead us in the flag salute?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Joan, your hair is getting so long. I got a great view.
That is your hair.
Bill, it is going to town. Looks nice. No, it's got, oh, it's terrible. Huh?
It's gotta get cut.
Are you? Yeah. Well, this is our first meeting for 2026, so welcome everyone. Glad everybody's here. About the only thing I had, Kelly, for announcements is there's no school on Friday. Because that's a teacher in service day or something?
Yeah, it's the grading day between semesters.
Oh, that's right, the semester ends on Friday and then starts on Monday?
Well, funny story, the semester ends tomorrow
Oh, okay,
and then second semester starts on Thursday.
in the middle of the week.
But we didn't put together a calendar that had Thursday off and came back on Friday because that didn't seem to make sense. So,
Okay, well, I'm sure the kids are looking forward to a second 3-day weekend.
I
I
bet.
don't know about the parents, but kids are probably doing that. So let's review the agenda. Are there any corrections or additions or questions on the agenda? I don't have anything that goes on the agenda itself, but after the meeting, the board will have a very, very short closed session just to introduce us to the upcoming union negotiation. So we won't modify the agenda for that, but I did want everybody to know that up front. All right, is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
motion approved.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept the agenda as presented with no changes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Let's note that Eric's not here, but I'm sure he's gonna be here soon.
Yep.
So we'll move on to the consent agenda, and the first thing on the consent agenda is a situation that we had that I guess we didn't realize exactly, but we had a period of time where we did not have a recorder to take minutes and prepare minutes. So the board declared that our official minutes were the recordings that we had every meeting. Well, we had one meeting that wasn't recorded, but we did do minutes of that meeting. But I think we knew we had to follow up and get those done, but the load on Jessica just didn't allow for that. But we had an audit and the audit said you didn't get it done in time. So Jessica has worked like mad and I have a folder full of minutes.
Good for you, Jessica.
Thank you, yeah.
Yeah, very much.
It was a monumental task.
Wow.
Minutes.
Those were.
Oh, my goodness.
I imagine,
You remember how long they were?
Some of them were rather lengthy.
but at least they feel good.
And so if we take a break, she might have some jokes to tell us about watching all of us. How many minutes these were.
That was entertaining.
So they might be entertaining. So what I'm gonna do is pass this folder around as you feel comfortable. I don't want to interrupt our meeting at all, so it might be the end of the meeting before we're done with them. But if you feel comfortable, you can go ahead and take a look at them as you'd like, and by the end of the meeting, hopefully they'll have made their way all the way around and we'll be able to approve them. So I'm going to request that I don't know if I should have done this at approval of the agenda, but that we hold item A under the consent agenda until after everyone's had a chance to take a look at those minutes.
So is that Anita though, I think item A is just our last board meeting minutes, whereas I think the past minutes were under our discussion items.
Where
or
is
item
it?
7.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh, there we are. way
So I
back
think
there.
all we would be doing under consent agenda is just the
Well,
last.
thank you for pointing that out. I saw review of minutes and I knew I had this monster pile in front of me.
And also, John and Joan, since you were not on the board at that time, we have a quorum of existing board members from that time period. So feel free to be exempt from even reviewing them, with
2 hours of sleep last night.
Eric and Bill's signature, we are all
Okay.
set.
Okay,
But if you would like to read through all of them, of course, you're welcome to.
I think that the big thing you might want to look at is verify that we're doing them, because it is a responsibility we have to do. So thanks for pointing that out. Let's start with review of the December 15th minutes. They're in our binder. Has everyone had a chance to look at those?
I did. If I could just maybe add one proposed edit, just somewhat selfishly, but just a slight semantic change, and that is under I think item 9 reports. We heard from the safety committee, I think we received a report, which was very helpful last time, and so item, let's see, 9A and then 3 talks about some of my comments, and the last sentence in that paragraph just says Director Moll was told that the cars. I think it would be better. What I recollect is more that Director Moll expressed concern that cars. That was just kind of a concern I had, rather than wasn't necessarily anything that he told me. It was just a concern that I had. So that was my only edit. Otherwise,
So
the
we
minutes all
would,
look good
we
to
would
me.
take out the was told and put in expressed concern.
That would be my
Okay.
recommendation, if that's consistent with everybody's. Didn't really matter, it just was, I think it was my own thought rather than something somebody told me.
I actually remember discussing that particular point. All right, great. Are there more comments, questions, or corrections or additions to the minutes? Okay, if there's no further discussion, the board would entertain a motion to accept the minutes as corrected.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Okay,
Do we pass that as a
We
consent
do.
agenda item?
oh, we do, and I always goof that one up.
Yeah, no worries. I
It
mean,
just
unless we
seems
need to
like
pass
a
it
normal
separate.
thing to do. I actually have never really cared for consent agendas.
Yeah,
Because you go into discussion and then you can't take action on that discussion.
right.
So I always, I've never cared for consent agendas just for that reason. I don't think it saves time.
Yeah.
But you are absolutely right. So we will move on to review of the AP vouchers, the payroll. And if you have any questions, I'm sure Kelly would be happy to answer them.
My question so far. He's with us.
Mhm.
Water
School
over here.
Board Appreciation Month.
Ah, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Everything looked fine to me. The only just minor question I had was, I don't remember where it was. I think it's the ESP payment for their contract related to the communications, which I think is a lot of website work and various things they do for us.
They do it.
Do you know, Kelly, is that, and I think it's 6,250, if I see this right?
Mhm.
Is that a monthly amount?
No,
That, is it like quarterly or
that would
something
be,
more?
yeah,
Okay, yeah, okay, fair enough.
Like,
yeah, they do a tremendous amount of work for us. They, maintain a lot of our online, compliance with required posts and things like that.
Yeah.
They help us with our, mailings to, the community survey work. They offer us services for emergency messaging. They support with, some of the ongoing communication, you know, provide a lot of support for like the monthly newsletter that goes out to families and parents. We get some help sometimes with the weekly newsletter that goes out to staff.
Yeah,
They help with, a lot of our, brand promoting with PCIA videos. They come out, they do photographs. They do a tremendous amount of work.
yeah,
That is probably one of the contracts I find the most value in, at
Okay.
least
that's good to hear that.
with
I
their
hadn't
support
heard that
for what
one
I
either.
do.
Yeah,
I would not be able to handle that work in-house at
Mhm.
all. There's just no way. There's
Right.
no way with the amount of work they do.
Okay,
And to build on that, we actually have about 12 ESD contracts.
Right.
And, so there will be a time where we approve all of them at the same time of year, we approve most contracts but they might not be all the same month, but pretty much. And at that point, Kelly can let us know if she's been talking about making any changes to those contracts
Right.
or updating them. And so if we do have questions, as bills come up, we have questions, we can let her know if there's something that we want to kind of be on the eye for, because that it does add up to a lot of money.
sure, yeah, okay,
And I couldn't begin to name all the contracts, but I remember going through them. There's quite a list of them, of things that a couple of them are kind of mandatory.
Mhm.
Business
And
services.
Well, 6 of them are listed right here.
Right, yeah,
are
there's
they,
a
are
few.
6 of, are we paying 6 of them?
Computer and network support, business management, special ed, career connect, Southwest, communications and payroll
And
processing.
most of them are quarterly. Are there any that we pay as services are rendered, or they're all quarterly? Okay. Of course, the one I really like is the finance one.
Yeah, yeah, and the payroll, I think.
Yeah.
Both have made, those we've got historically, and I think make some
Mhm.
sense for us.
Mhm. So are there other questions about our expenditures this month?
Nothing else for me.
Was there anything that we should be noticing, Kelly?
No, not this one. Pretty typical, just. Put it on in.
So the other items that are in the approval folder, we're going to be bringing those up later. Contracts down there under your
The resolutions.
right,
That,
yeah, we have a resolution, we have 2 resolutions, so those will be later, okay?
Yep.
Okay, there's no further discussion, questions or anything. The chair would entertain a motion to approve the minutes of December 15th as presented with one correction, which took out, I guess I wrote on a different copy. Was told and put in expressed concern. In addition, there are the AP check register
Payroll.
for all of our basic expenses that you have just been reviewing for check numbers 42847 through 42869 totaling $30,105.59. There is an AP check register for the GFL Saline County Fund, check number 42870 for $3.95. There is the AP check register for the ASB, check numbers 583, number 583 for a total of $37.24. And there is the AP check register that goes to Umpqua Bank for benefits and payroll taxes. Check number 37722 through 37739 totaling $164,798.70. And then there is authorization to Skamania County Treasurer for payroll. Dated January 23rd, 2026, in the amount of $120,332.21. Would
So I would make the motion. I move that we approve the consent agenda items as you stated, needed.
thank you.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve the presented items as are under the consent agenda. Is there any further discussion or questions? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion is passed. So the next thing on the agenda says PCIA review. And we're getting into the mode of starting a retreat. We'll be picking a day to get started. We have a sample kind of an agenda that Kelly had started for us. We have a lot of things that may come up during our retreat. We'll be looking at missions, looking at goals, and those goals could be district goals, board goals, goals for Kelly. And so there'll be a lot of things we'll talk about, including we'll be doing the process of Kelly's evaluation. But the first thing, I just have the information on PCIA, which you have seen before. You can pass that down to Jessica. But it's a critical time for PCIA. It's been successful and been going on for several years now. And taking a look at it as part of our retreat, I think would be a great idea. So you have a binder here. You can use this for whatever you'd like as we go through the retreat. I didn't put labels on it because you can reorganize your binder any way you want. But just to start off today, if you go page number 1, it shows a list of sample questions we can ask as we move forward about how are we doing? Are we putting students first? Are our students proud and happy to be at PCIA? And when we ask these questions, that'll take us down for our mission for PCIA and our goals and planning for the future. They'll kind of tie together. I think it's good to ask questions. So my hope is that having this now will allow you time to review this and stimulate your creative thoughts about our innovative academy, keeping it innovative and keeping it meeting the intent of our original plan, and maybe we want to make some changes. So the second page there is just what I've labeled our dream. And this came out of the proposal of June 28th, 2016. And the whole proposal is under the next tab. And I highlighted just some of the things that mean a lot to me. But one of the things that's real important, I think, that we've been successful at is when we hired a new superintendent and principal, we really emphasized relationships, because the PCIA is a critical element of the Millay School District, and being able to make that critical element work for us and support us, relationships are the primary key, because when you read the document, you will see that it very clearly says that our intent is relationship-based collegiate environment and relationships between students and instructors. So I have a lot of stars in yellow. You probably know already that I love color and like to star things and everything, but starts out with empowering our students and relationship-based students and faculty together, one-on-one time, and student ownership. The next page says our primary program, and I have to apologize, my printer, you probably can't figure out what that title says. It printed the rest of the page just fine, but it didn't print the titles very well. So, but anyway, this is right from our application to the state, which is your next second tab after this page. And that's our actual application that went to the state. And this will help us highlight things that have happened since over the last going 8 years, right, Eric? Yeah. And so we're finishing up our 8th year. And we have a lot of significant things that have happened with Kelly coming in that has really opened the door to meeting more of these than we were for a while. That Kelly has started with your BLT team and many different things that she has gotten going that has gotten our PCIA instructors communicating and trying to get things in place that helps us support our students the way we originally intended in our documents. So that's what there is. It's some more highlights out of our actual application. And then our dream, which is the presentation we made in 2016, our application that went in at the end of 2016. Following that is the RCW that allowed us to create this and other relative RCWs, so that the end is a letter from the superintendent of public instruction that really clarifies that OSPI does not approve us, but they review us. And so we don't, one of the things I'm always very aware of is not wanting to get a letter from OSPI saying you're not an innovative academy anymore. We don't see that you're doing anything different than any other high school. And I think that's a real concern. And I only know that because I have grandkids in high school who can finish their college degree at the same time they finish their high school degree through a college and high school program. But they don't have the people relationship and the time for teacher students, teams that include counselors, teachers, students, and parents. So it's a little different in the relationship based, but it's not necessarily different than the accomplishment that a student who applies themselves can make. Am I talking too loud?
No, you're doing fine.
Oh. I have my hearing aids in so I can hear you. Boy, can I hear me. So I'd really appreciate it if I wanted to give this to you earlier. And this also opens the door to being able to look again at our relationship with Millie School and PCIA. There is reference to that in our application and the opportunities that we can provide to our students at Millie School. And we have a mission that's printed up, but I don't know what happened to it for Millie School. So that'll be really a key thing, is making sure that we have mission and goals for Millie School as well. And everything works together. We do need to set a date for our first, I'm sure our retreat will take several days, but it's up to us. It's up to us. How much do we want to accomplish? At our retreat, and how much do we want to have separate meetings on? For example, conducting and doing the superintendent evaluation is one of the things we have to do in time to be sure that we can make sure we're meeting our contractual obligations, and that Kelly has goals and objectives to work to, because we did goals and objectives early on in 25, right? Late 24. And we have not done new ones since then. And so we do need to make sure that as we look at the things that we see in our district and our schools, what kind of goals can we establish to meet the desires that we explain or come up with as we're discussing everything. So dates. I'd like to get it kind of going, because by the time we get into April, we will be having probably extra Mondays due to the budget needs. So if it's at all possible to get some time over the next 2 months, that would be awesome. Do people like staying with Mondays?
Do we wanna do,
For the retreat,
Right,
or do we wanna do a weekend day?
we were.
The last time we were talking about a Saturday,
Yeah, that's right.
or I can't remember if we had more discussion on that, where we were thinking of moving it to a weekday, or was the last really
I
just
thought we were
Saturday?
gonna do it on the 19th. And then something happened, we didn't. do that.
Yeah, I had a family emergency.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would think like. If we, with the time we had spent, we can, if we can all find the Saturday we are agreeable to, but. Worthwhile, especially for these kinds of things, a Saturday. Lunch, morning, when we're fresh on the day and ready to put that hat on. Might be nice.
Well, that puts us, if it's, if we skip this coming Saturday, that goes to the 31st or the 7th. Probably don't wanna do the 14th.
7th would be workable for me, 31st not so much, but
What's workable?
February
the 7th might work, would work for me, the 31st. Probably less so, yeah, but February 7th, Saturday could work.
And that's probably the only Saturday unless we jump all the way to the 28th because. Oh, I guess there's February.
21st could work for me, 28th
21st.
could work for me.
well, let's talk about the 7th.
Sure.
That's this coming weekend,
2 from now,
too.
well, this coming Saturday is the 24th, then the 31st, then the 7th, so more like 3 actually.
3 weeks.
2.5.
Does that give, Kelly, I know you had prepared some materials, maybe we were pretty much all ready, does that give us enough time to?
I
Prep?
think depending on how far we wanna deviate from what was on. The original schedule, which doesn't sound like. I mean, so the original plan was to discuss the mission and vision work that is happening and discuss like stakeholder input, so that's. Pretty similar, roles, responsibilities. For board and superintendent. Talking about the school improvement plan, and then a little bit of self-evaluation. All of that is pretty much would be ready. And then if there were any other topics, I think the 7th would give me plenty of time as long as we can determine those.
I think that we've got a lot there that, and they're all very, really important. If we can get together and go over that list and establish maybe priorities and additions or changes or corrections, whatever we want to do to that list. I think that would be great to have us do that
Yeah,
as we start.
I think that list is a pretty solid 4 hours if we wanted to make.
Like a 10 to 2 type of
That's
thing.
what we had. If we wanted to extend a little bit and just make some time for brainstorming and planning board retreat number 2, that might be a good time to do that. If we wanted to do like I don't know if you guys are morning or afternoon people. I'm an early riser, so I'm always looking to start early. If we want to do like a 9:30 to 2:30 or 10 to 3 or.
So the retreat is a public meeting. And so we will have meeting minutes, but they won't be in detail at all. But I think Kelly, one of the things, my question is, are you or pick someone that will kind of be taking notes of everything? Were you gonna do that on your laptop or, should we arrange for Jessica to be available or?
I think to record it. If we have to record it.
I think we have to record it.
Yeah. Are you available on the 7th?
Okay,
I
and
would say 9 to 2 would work for me. I could do 10 to 3 too, if we prefer later, but I don't mind getting off a little earlier. And so does that add the extra time then you're saying, Kelly, to maybe plot out the next one based on what we've talked about? I
Mhm.
like that
And
idea.
we would probably I mean, I don't know that it would take us a full hour to do that,
Sure.
but,
Yeah, I like 9 to 2 also.
I might be able to do 9 to 2. I'll confirm.
Mhm.
okay.
There's some things I have that can go to 9:30, but I don't remember if I have that Saturday.
I'm real flexible,
I mean-
whatever you want.
If,
So do you want to see how you
If
do and then
use
we
the
could flex it
icebreaker,
forward
it
if
would
we need
probably
to?
be okay. Oh, yeah.
That'd probably be better.
Nope. So no, I love a good icebreaker.
so did we say 9 or 10 to 2?
9 to 2?
9 to 2,
Go 9 to 2.
On what date?
February?
Saturday, February 7th.
9 to 2.
at your house,
It's
John,
literally break the ice.
Well,
Well, I
uh,
think we should, I think given some of the tech things, we might be better off doing
I
it
think that's what
in
we
here.
concluded last
And that'll
time.
be here.
Yeah,
So we want to make sure we get this advertised. So it could be in the Pioneer of the 5th, or we could have it in the 29th and the 5th. I'm not sure if the Pioneer's official date is Thursday or Wednesday now. I'm not sure when they call their publication date. We could get that up.
the 5th might not be. I mean, it might, people get it in the mail. Takes a
Along that
while to
line,
get it.
I guess,
What's that, John?
People get the Pioneer in the mail,
Uh-huh.
so if it goes out on the 5th and we're meeting on the 7th. That doesn't give them enough time, so we need to do the one before.
well, that's, and I suggested time before, but we get ours in the mail, it comes on Thursday. But, if there's anything that happens, sometimes we don't get it till Friday, sometimes we don't get it till like 8 o'clock at night on Thursday.
Yeah.
But it is,
That's our
we get
minimum.
ours on Thursday normally. How about you? Do you get the Pioneer bill when yours come?
Do we also, I've lost track of, are we posting our meetings on our website as well, like notifications? So we'll certainly post it there as well.
And then at the
Website,
front
social.
door, we always
Yeah.
put it on in the
On the-
bulletin board. Well, there's a bulletin
Yeah,
board
right.
there, we put it there. And when Kelly was mentioning her retreat list, she mentioned, couple of talking about trainings and board superintendent relationships. And so just this is a good time to pass out. We do have some mandatory board trainings that are required.
stealing all my thunder today.
You can take these trainings online, or you could attend the annual meeting, or ESD may be holding a training. But you're certainly willing to take it on your own online. Bill, if you want to take it online, then you come up to the school, Kelly will get you set up with a computer, just give her some advance notice.
We could-
And you can come do
Me
that.
too.
You want to do that
Then
too?
we know when you're gonna do it.
Yeah, there you go. So
And this has to be done
to,
by when?
you have to do it within 90 days. 90 days for the open government one, it's within 90 days. I don't look that it says there's a time specifically on the educational equity one.
That is within the first 2 years for new board members and each subsequent term.
That's true, 90 days after election, and then every 2 years for a board member that didn't go through elections. I don't believe that we have to do the tribal consultation one, that doesn't apply to our school, so it's just the first two on this piece of paper here. And then I think that you maybe have already received this at a previous meeting. And then there's another one that I think Kelly will have at the retreat, or did we already pass out this one? I think we'll have this at the retreat, so.
Is there a training related to the open public meetings, or is that open government? Like that we have to
That's the same class.
complete? Oh, yeah, gotcha. Yeah, I got that last time.
I've never seen it labeled open government before, but things are always changing. You never know.
I guess it does.
The focus is on the Open Public Meeting Act.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and the Public Records Act.
And the Public Records Act, there we go.
So that's what I combined in with the,
Which says that you record your meetings, but you can't make those recordings your official minutes.
Yeah.
So says 90 days after you were
Sworn in.
sworn in. So did we already do it?
Which one are we looking at?
Well, you haven't taken the class yet, but you were sworn in at the December meeting.
And we didn't do that?
Well, you weren't sworn in because you didn't
So
run
we
for
got
election.
4 years, so do we have to do it again?
You have to do it every 2 years.
I
The-
just read
The
4
Open
years.
Public Meeting Act is required for new board members. Periodic review is considered best practice on that one. The educational equity is required within the first 2 years for new board members, and returning board members have to do it each term.
Oh,
So,
Term?
yeah,
Both
this
of
one
all.
is.
so you're elected for a 4-year term.
Oh.
Yeah, so
Not
this
each
one.
quarter.
No.
It's mandatory that when you first start on the school board, and it's best practice if we do it each term. The equity one is required within the first 2 years and required each subsequent term. So I've actually got I've got a slide for this too on my superintendent report, so we can, if there are still questions, we can go through it then as well.
So did you say there's something in addition to these?
We don't have to do that one. We gotta do these two.
So John, you'll need to do both.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
So Joan, your position is a 4-year position on the board. Bill, your position,
We're the
was,
4
your 4 years is up December of 27. Okay, John, your position is filling a term, so your position is also up December of 27. So
Yeah.
you're on just 2 years. Eric, your position is also up December of 27. And because you were elected for 4 years previously.
Mhm.
I was elected for 2 years previously because I was filling the position, and so this last time I was elected for the normal 4 years. So it's pretty confusing, but all you have to do is ask the auditor, and Nathan down there is awesome at answering those questions.
Well, we'll ask you.
Okay, so we have our first date for our first get together, and we'll move forward from there on subjects we're gonna talk about and how we want to meet our goals for the particular retreat. So, next on the agenda, public comment. Hi. Thank you for coming.
I heard there were.
Cookies, so.
Well, we'll have more happening, so you might get warmed up for the next public comment period. When we are on to reports, discussions, and approvals. So now it's past minutes, and so you probably haven't had a chance to look at those, but if you're done, I can pass them on to Bill. And we can approve those whenever you guys are finished.
You know what? I'll look at these later. There's too much to go through.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. We have the budget next, so I understand that.
But you still need to approve. How you approve without looking at
Well,
it?
it's gonna be you, me, and Bill
where you
with
have
the
the date.
approval, I think. Okay, so we're on to the budget report. We have a little tab in our book, and I see something new here.
Yeah, so there is a new tool in your binder that provides some information around the state apportionment payment schedule. I know one of the things that we often have discussed is the comparison of percentage of revenue to expenditures. Just to kind of get a feel of where we're at in the year. And so I thought it was important to revisit the fact that when we get our apportionment, it does not come in equal incremental amounts. So if you think about each month as being roughly 8.33% of the year, you would almost expect that's how much we were getting of our apportionment, but it's not so. So you can see in September, we get 9%, and in October, we get 8%, and then in November, it dips down to 5%. And the reason I think it's worth calling out is if we are spending at a steady pace, which we know we don't, because we spend much more upfront on curriculums and things like that. But if we were spending at a completely steady pace, we would still see expenses above revenue just based on apportionment. So like this time of year, when we're looking at December, just by how much we've had come in versus an equal amount going out, we would have a net difference of negative 2.36 between revenues and expenses. Just so, that was news to me when I first started, so I thought I would share that. So it gives a little bit of perspective, I think, when we look at our revenues being at 29.65% of budget and our expenditures being at 34% of budget. That there's part of it is the front loading and part of it is the fact that the apportionment comes in at different rates.
Yeah.
So Kelly, can you make those disbursements? I mean, do you have the money to make the disbursements?
Yeah, it's all based on budget, so we're good. Like, there's no concern about it, but it just kind of highlights why the amount that is showing in is 5% less than the amount that is going out. For both of those reasons, we don't get all of our revenue at a steady pace, and we spend more upfront than we do. But as far as just like operating capital, there's no concern.
And I would say though, that because we maintain a pretty good general fund balance, we have capital available to kind of fund that shortfall. You know, when it exists, so.
Which is part of why and it's one of the things that the auditors look for and things like that, so.
If you ever hear any of the reason for that, I never understood why. I've never heard why
The percentage.
Yeah, why
I mean,
it goes all over the place.
I do find it interesting that the state holds the largest payments till the end of the fiscal year.
Yeah,
So they can earn interest or whatever,
which, yeah.
or steal it from somewhere else.
But
Well, yeah, but then the smallest are just right before that in May and June, right? It's not like,
there doesn't seem to be a lot of rhyme or reason
Right, it's
to it, like.
what came up with that schedule or what
Yeah.
factors influenced it?
I
think they
I
come up
giggle
sometimes.
because, I mean, December, most schools only have a couple of weeks, but we have 9, like, it doesn't, I could not think of any reason why they did
It's a
that.
present.
It's a present, yes,
But that's what it
they're
is every
generous.
year. Yeah, they do that every year, right?
Yeah.
That's the crazy.
Well, along the lines of budget, don't start clapping hands yet, but there is a bill in the legislature right now, SB 5918. I'm sure there's a House bill that goes with it,
State.
that says that for materials, supplies, and operating costs, the state is going to give every school district $100 per student. And for school districts who have less than $100,000 would receive less than $100,000 as a result of this, then that school district must receive additional amounts to bring the total up to $100,000.
100,000.
So now I just no way believe they're gonna do that. But that's what this bill says.
Does that replace,
That's gonna
does
be-
that replace, current MSOC or is that, in
No.
addition to the current MSOC?
This is, well, it could be, doesn't say.
MSOC is a really major topic of discussion with, like the ESD when they're working with, OSPI and everyone, like, it's a big thing. So I don't know enough to really answer questions about that, but I do know that it is a high priority.
It's still kind of a joke amount, right?
And it never keeps up with
Yeah.
inflationary costs.
Right,
So it's a net loss each year.
right.
So it's a constant conversation about needing more for the MSOCs.
And what was this for?
So the bill summary says it's an increased allocation for materials, supplies, and operating costs. So it could be pencils and paper, color crayons, all kinds of classroom supplies, admin supplies. And operating costs would include electricity or whatever, right?
Were we getting anything before like?
No, well, we get our per student allocation, right?
So yeah, the MSOC funding comes separate from like apportionment, other parts of state funding. The problem is that it's like way out of whack. It's like, it's a far cry from what our actual kind of materials and operating costs are.
We had that
So-
report once a year, I think, where we say like, well, here's what we spent on supplies and here's what our MSOC allocation was, and they aren't the
I'll
same number.
give
So
you
we were getting,
a
so much
copy of
So we-
the-
we get-
so we're getting an extra.
There is a bill.
It says it
proposed for us to
increases the allocation. That's the intent of the bill. I'll pass it there. You guys can take a look at it and then keep that number if you want to check on it as we go by. However, in a some sort of talk that our governor was giving, he made a comment about school districts who are not who are low value districts. Districts with low property values, and that those districts do not create enough tax dollars to support their school.
Yeah.
There was no talk about merging districts or closing districts like we heard a few years ago
Right.
about doing that, all those getting rid of small districts. It was merely comments he was making about these districts with low market value properties aren't supporting their schools. It's like, well, okay. We can build houses if you want.
Right.
Manny County is 80% forest land,
Yeah.
and we got low numbers of
Yeah,
residents.
so anyway, there's all kinds of talk going on. The legislature just got back in session and we'll see what happens, but we'll keep an eye on that.
All of which I would say back to, not to go back to that topic, but emphasizes, I believe, the importance of PCIA. It's really such a unique thing within the state. I can't remember who told me that really there's no innovation academies left, or there's one. Idea was the one. So very unique what we have, and it provides us an outsized share of what we would get without PCIA and the Innovation Academy. You know, Mill A is hanging on by a thread, and it would be having to operate very differently. So it all does kind of tie together, and it's, yeah. On the one hand, it could be interesting if they change and gave more credit to low value districts, but on the other hand, could raise the specter of, you know, what does it mean for the Innovation Academy? So.
Well, and I think that that's extremely important. You're absolutely right. And I think that I really want to see us be 100% awesome.
Yeah.
Because there may be more people looking at us in the future than there are today.
Right.
And when they look at us, we want them to say, wow, this is a perfect example of a school district doing a wonderful thing for their students, even though it's a very small district. So I think that,
Yeah, which I think we've been building that narrative quite a bit, and I think that's gonna be very good for us.
and so that's kind of the thing with me passing out the notebooks, is that we all need to make sure we have a clear view, got a new board, a clear view of PCIA, its roles, our original intent and our dream of how to create this innovative academy, because we were very different. The other innovative academies at that time, one focused on the arts. You could tell that some of them were focused around what's happening in their community. There's one focused on aviation up near the Everett area. There was one that Century 21 CenturyLink, or is it 21st, whatever it is, one of the telephone companies had some communication.
I don't think I'm
Tech.
familiar with that, okay.
Yeah, it's if you go to your notebook, when you look at the RCW, it lists some of the innovative schools at the time.
Hmm,
So there was a micro society program, what I thought was very interesting at Talbot High, their elementary school. And my daughter in high school at Lake Oswego, they're doing judicial systems. And they have not only mock trials, they have mock trial competitions. Tacoma School of the Arts Sprint Program for students. And then there's the one that focuses on Hispanic language and history, one for the National Guard Youth Program, the Lincoln Center at Lincoln High School. There's the Delta High School Science and Technology and Engineering Math Focus School option. Here's the Aviation School. So ours is relationship-based STEM education. Relationship-based STEM, collegiate STEM education. So it's really very interesting and it'll be a fun, I think, a lot of good discussions. Making sure
Those are not innovation academies though.
those are examples in the law.
Those are examples of innovative schools.
Well, okay, no, they're not innovation academy, innovative schools, the law we were created under. This is the law that allowed us.
Is it, this is like, we have a history of supporting innovative school activities, but under the law, an innovation academy is a separate thing that's done by a collection of K through 8 districts. There's only ever been one other of those. That this says, you know, here's other things we've supported that are innovative.
like
As an example of what the state does, but those aren't innovation academies created under the innovation of, they're not collections of K through 8 districts that are the only ones that are able to bring forward
Well, I'm
and
sorry I
innovate.
didn't explain it sufficiently.
So. Well, no, what I'm saying is this co-op, this RCW 225, 250. There's only 2 of us in the state that have done that application and are formed by that statute. And I wasn't. These other ones are other schools that have gotten special, that have gotten funding. But
that, yeah, maybe what, I mean, I'm just digesting this RCW, but, or maybe some of this is, because I see finding intent.
right,
So probably that's, these other programs that we're talking about
These are examples
influence the
of
development of
program.
that law.
of things that Washington has done.
That's exactly
supporting
right.
innovation.
Excellent examples that
Right,
we had on our plate. And we are authorized under 090 Innovation Academy Cooperatives.
Yeah, I don't remember reading that. That's interesting, but. Yeah, anyway,
under,
So I can
Oh, right.
read you the letter from OSPI if you want.
Yeah, yeah.
It has
Under-
all of them in there.
28A3.
And I took all of the ones out of the letter and printed them and put them in your book.
Yeah. That's awesome. And then, you put a lot of work into this. And it's a great primer.
Because back in 2017, after the first year, Bob sent to the state, to OSPI,
Right,
some information asking for their review and approval, and they responded and said they don't need to approve us. And they won't
Right.
approve us. So, anyway, that particular letter had all those RCWs in it, so I provided a copy because this gives us, it stimulates our thinking, just like it stimulates your thought process of what happened in the past. It stimulates our thinking of what we can do in the future. So the very last tab has the letter that I'm referring to. And that's what, here's where it mentions it refers to cooperative projects.
right.
And that's RCW,
There's 030, 020, 090. Are the three, I think, the reference in the letter, and I think they should all three be under the other tab. Anyway, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be great to be able to do this. And making sure we're keeping our eye on students first. And the unique student relationship based education.
I forgot that he. I put it in under 28A 340L85, and then they're like, nope, you're gonna be under. Um, Has to be under a co-op.
Yeah, there's sort of the semantics of the technical review versus the approval,
Right.
but yeah.
Yeah, that was basically if you meet the technical guidelines,
You're in. Yeah.
you're approved by statute and you're in. We just need to check that you have checked all the boxes. and
Right.
That you haven't. It's not a, is this of enough value? Is this what we want to do? None of that.
And so let's keep that value up
Yeah,
and let's make sure students are first as we look at that value. And the specific things we say about students, which are 100% relationship based as you read through the application, relationship with their instructors. And there's mandated time they have to have with their instructors relationship as mentors, instructors relationships as part of each student's team that they have. So it's really interesting to read. A fabulous job. I was not there when they did that. I was there when we started it, but I was not there as we went through it. But Eric went through all of it, along with Angela at the time. So John and Eric have a great history that's really going to help us move forward with.
When did you put in the board job? Was it 2 years something?
sometime, yeah, maybe a year or two after launch. Yeah, I think
Oh, was it?
sometime 17 and 19, yeah, when Brad came up.
Yeah, I think we talked about, you came on and took my position. I didn't run for election and you ran or something, I think.
Okay. Did I take yours or did I take Angela's?
I don't know.
She was very persuasive on getting me to.
Sure, let's take a 3-minute break, 3-minute restroom break.
Pause it.
Can we come back? We're back in session. It's 7:01. Let's proceed with the superintendent report.
Well, first I want to say Happy New Year and Happy School Board Appreciation Month. So we really appreciate the time that you guys volunteer to do this. I know some people in, maybe not in this community, but in many communities that I've been part of, always thought that school board members were paid too much. And when I was a school board member back in the day, I said, well, we do get cookies.
Say you owe me a check.
Yeah, so I just wanna really express gratitude for the amount of time that you volunteer and how much it means to the district and to me, the support that you guys provide. So thank you. I hope you enjoy your cookies.
Well, thank you very much. I really, as soon as I saw those, I perked up.
Quick little district snapshot. I thought maybe we could do it as a pictorial representation this time. It's kind of smooth sailing for the most part. It will never be glassy seas, but we're getting through. And I threw up a snapshot of some bobcats drinking hot cocoa and some owls playing cards, and that will explain itself as I go through my report.
That's pretty cool.
Okay, so I'm gonna apologize in advance for the wordiness of some of these slides. But in creating it, I realized that if you would like a copy of it for reference, I think having more information on there would be more helpful than not. So in the area of teaching and learning, the certificated formal observations are complete. And just a reminder, that was 6 comprehensive and 5 focused evaluations, which means 11 30-minute observations, coding, and pre and post meetings happened in the first semester. We are doing an voluntary book club on a book called The Anxious Generation. It will walk us through some of the differences in childhood and the results of that from kind of the pre-iPhone era to the era that we're in now. So we have 5 people who have volunteered to read that book alongside of me and get together and discuss it. I'm really excited. It's an incredible book that will offer a lot of insight into what students need today versus maybe what they've needed in the past. And also highlight that the district was recognized in the January 2026 High School and Beyond Plan newsletter from OSPI as being one of only 8 districts in the state that has supported over 90% of their students with completion of their academic goal setting for this year.
Wow.
So as a reminder, the High School and Beyond Plan has been required for a long time, and it's been required to be electronic for a while. We were still catching up with that until this year. Washington is going to require districts to use the same online platform starting next year, but put out a call to districts who wanted to pilot it this year. And since we were in need of getting in alignment with it being online, I signed Millay, a school district, up to be in the pilot year. So it didn't make sense to adopt a platform and then go to the required one. And so Vice Principal Lomax has been doing a really great job supporting instructors and students through this process. And it starts with some of our middle school students and goes all the way through seniors. So
You put that little thing on our website. That's pretty cool.
pretty cool.
What, you have like a school book club? That,
The book club, yeah.
that's cool.
Well, just for, there's five of us, Jessica, Lisa, Miss Brooks, Kellyanne, Bridget, I guess there's more than 5. And then, we've had a long-term sub, her name is Karis. She's gonna stay in the book club and join us via Zoom whenever possible.
What's her name?
Karis.
Carrots.
In the area of assessment and progress, our K-8 teachers have been doing a great job of doing some growth monitoring using some of our new iReady curriculum, which has helped them kind of plan instruction throughout the term. And then starting next week, we begin our winter benchmark, our winter diagnostic. So the first week, January 26th, we start with the English language arts, where we test every student K-10 to determine if they're at grade level. And then we will move on to math the week of February 2nd, same group of kids. And then the week of February 9th, any student in K-8 who tested below grade level in reading, English language arts, will get a core phonics screener so we can identify where their skill gaps are and really do some targeted intervention. So you will have a data report from me in February with the outcomes. And this is one of those slides that I said I wanted to apologize in advance because they're pretty wordy. So school culture and activities, January's character trait district-wide is perseverance. I think it's a great time for that. It's hard to come back from a break, hit finals, and then start new courses. And for our younger folks, it's just hard to come back from a long break sometimes. So we are powering through. And then some updates from some of our clubs. Our knowledgeable teams have been doing great. Varsity and JV teams competed in their 3rd regular season meet at Columbia High School. Both teams have had a great season, with their best performances coming in the most recent meet. The JV team won, varsity placed 2nd, and they have one more regular season meet remaining, followed by varsity regional meet on the 25th. Big Brain Science Club, also led by Mr. Van Duzer. These are his 2 clubs. The Science Club is discussing possible fundraisers and hoping to add more pets to our science room. I'll remember to check back in with him on that topic. Or take a field trip with the proceeds. They're planning on building model rockets for our annual end of the year rocket launch as well.
More pets.
Yeah, I'm just gonna make sure none of them have 8 legs, so we won't be doing that.
I know somebody might have a bunny.
Huh?
I think you'll get a ticket home and feed him.
Yeah, no spiders, no rabbits, and somebody else has veto snakes, so we'll check back in. I'm alert, I'm not the no snakes person. Someone else in the building. And then updates from Miss Brooks's clubs. The yearbook club is conducting surveys so that all students get a vote in the style, for the yearbook. And they're beginning to narrow it down. Really impressed with our student representation, putting together a lot of ways for their peers to give input on some decisions that are coming. And then ASB has successfully formed student committee with committee leaders to recruit student participation in planning of prom and graduation. One of our big pushes this year was to get more student voice into some of these events. And we wanted to have students participate in the planning. ASB will also be setting dates in the next at the next meeting for their events like the lock-in. They're doing monthly community building activities. So once a month, the ASB leadership works with the administrative team to pick a date and time to not have class. So sometimes it's 7th period on Friday, it might be moving to Wednesdays, and then they all just get together and do an activity of their choice. Nitro ball, play cards, whatever the student body decides seems like a really good way to get together, blow off some steam and do some building. And they also have some fundraisers planned. Okay, any questions about the club updates before I really move on?
Can I hear Kelly, I heard this through as well, that the ASB has shifted in terms of there's now like a class, a leadership class. Maybe
Yeah.
you're gonna hit that in a minute, but.
No, but that's
I
a
was
good point.
intrigued by
Thank you.
that.
So we've been working really hard, and this kind of goes to some of the stuff that Anita was talking about on some of those ways to stay innovative and focus in on relationships. And one of the things that we're finding is that transportation can be a massive barrier to student participation. Just because of some of the distance that students have to travel. And so we are looking for ways that we can incorporate more activities and clubs into the school week. And one of the things that we did is we've shifted ASB from being just a club that happens like at lunch to a leadership class that will happen on Wednesdays. So students will be able to receive a quarter credit for leadership. And they'll have a full class period every Wednesday to take care of their ASB duties.
So those are
Versus
the-
right now, they have 30 minutes and probably 10 to 12 of those are spent going, getting their lunch, heating it up and getting back.
So how does that work? Is that, the students who are part of the ASB, who are elected, are they able to take that class?
Okay, so yeah, that was my question too. Is it just for the officers that are elected?
Yeah,
to
the
run
officers
ASB?
and the class representatives.
Okay,
Yeah. So, but they're dedicating one class period where they normally would either have a study hall or some type of other intervention support. And so we thought that that would be a really great way to provide them with something on their transcript that would show what they've done, how they've really
That's
stepped
cool.
up.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah, and then in building on that, we're looking at how we can in the future start to incorporate some of the other clubs. We won't make it there this year because with only 2 semesters, we can only roll so many things out when it comes to schedule changes, especially in a year where we hit them with a really large schedule change. But in the future, we'd like to see like robotics club happen on Wednesdays, some of these other clubs. Right now, robotics class happens at the end during 7th period. But they need more than that time to do some of their projects. So we're really trying to find a way to get more students to be able to participate and for our clubs to not have to compete. With 20-ish students, it's hard for the clubs to get enough students without them competing with each other. So, you know, our parents are awesome and they love to provide transportation, but if a student wants to join 2 or 3 clubs, that might mean driving your kid 2 or 3 days. And you may live as far away as Stabler, so that's not a realistic ask. Okay, this is one of the wordier slides. Most of this was so that I would get it all right. So we talked about this a little bit. There are some board trainings and, some just onboarding information. Like Anita was mentioning, the Open Public Meetings Act, training is required for all new board members. That's the one that needs to happen within the first 90 days. Periodic review is considered best practice. I think that I would advocate for, you know, at least once every 4 years going through it because things can change. It gives us an opportunity to have a shared understanding across the entire board, especially if our board members who've been with us for a while refresh it. And we do have some options to get this training. We could have ESD 112 facilitate an in-person or virtual training. And there's also a WASDA online training. So that may be something that, we can discuss as far as what the preference is, if we feel like it would be easier to do the online, or if we would like something in person, that might be something we could build into a board retreat day. There's some flexibility in
Do you
that.
know how the online course is structured, Kelly? Is it sort of a self-study or do you know how it works? Or
I don't, but I'd be happy to get that information.
I started looking, but I didn't finish. That'd be my inclination because it's more time flexibility to fit it in, but I'm open to doing it in person if that works for more people.
Yeah, I'd be happy to follow up on that question and then just send out the answer.
Okay.
And then the other training that Anita mentioned earlier is the educational equity training. This one is required for all board members. So when you are new to the board, it's required within the first 2 years, so much more generous time frame. But it is also required each subsequent term for returning board members. And this one is available through WASDA, and I can look into both of them a little bit more and just send out some information.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything on whether that one is available virtually or not, or if you have to be in person. So I took mine at the annual meeting and they had a lot of the, you get together in groups and do this stuff. So, but I don't know what it's like nowadays.
Yeah, I haven't found the educational equity one yet.
Yeah.
And again, one of my recommendations would be that we might consider scheduling a training so that we're all receiving consistent information. Even if we don't necessarily do it with the Open Public Meeting Acts within that first 90 days, if the preference is for you guys to do that one online, but possibly down the road or next year that we kind of do that all together so that we can get some shared language and vocabulary around that and make sure that we're all understanding the information in the same way.
Well, it might be interesting, so at this point, we don't know if ESD provides an educational equity training. It doesn't say anything about that as an option.
No.
But that is a good point, because I know that ESD will also give a little presentation on the role of the board. And we could combine that with open public meeting training or with, I'm not sure what educational equity training consists of and whether it could be combined with something else or not.
And I think this would be a really good topic for that extra time we just added to the February retreat. Where we could just talk about future training needs and wants and how the board would like to move forward with some of these information, things that we could have presented and in what format, whether we want Zoom or whether we want in person. Or whether we don't want.
It looks like WASDA has 2, 4, 5 learning experiences, 5 different ones that you can choose from.
For the
For
educational
the
equity.
equity.
Yeah, committing to educational equity, advancing inclusion through belonging, foundations of cultural proficiency, identity discrimination, a look at federal involvement, and discovering educational disparities are each separate ones. And part of the intention of this is that it says the board members would be able to choose the ones that are interesting to them.
Might be really fun to have different ones and then get together with what we've learned. So. Okay, budget and finance, quick update. The certificated union negotiation, will be starting in March. We've got some dates calendared. As part of the current CBA, once a month, the union leadership and I meet, to discuss any topics that need to. And at our last meeting, we went ahead and got our calendars out and talked about, setting enough dates. So I was really excited to do that with them. I'm looking forward to the process. We've been talking about different topics for the last year and a half, and I think that it should be a pretty smooth process. So, some updates on grants. I let you guys know last time we had applied for several. We applied for an ADA equal access grant. We were denied. There was $5 million available. And you know, it says we, OSPI, I just copied and pasted, received 79 applications totaling over $10 million. We also had applied for the school security and preparedness infrastructure. That grant was also denied. So we'll keep looking, we'll keep trying. 26-27 budget planning is already underway. I set next to your binders before the meeting, two drafts. One says 26-27 budget process and has meeting dates on it. I apologize, I did not, I copied last year's and changed the dates of the meeting, but what I didn't change was the year of the budget. So when you look at that draft, you'll see it says review 24-25 budget worksheet. It should not say that. I will get those updated. But just to give you a rough idea of how many meetings it will take to get through this process. And then there is a more comprehensive building blocks for the 4-year budget document that I gave you also in draft form that I will say I came across and have not necessarily reviewed with a fine tooth comb. So it would be great if you have a chance to read it over, and we can discuss that, any changes that need to be made to that document, any questions or concerns in this. We've already started some of the other stuff. The staff was sent the intent to return survey. It's not binding, but it helps us know if anyone plans on retiring or anything like that sooner rather than later. We already have a wait list for MAS for next year. And PCIA recruitment efforts are underway. We're working on understanding our facilities needs. And those drafts are ready for your review. Okay, operations and facilities. We had an emergency closure on 12/12 due to no water. We will be making that day up on February 13th. We also experienced an extended internet outage. The 3 days before winter breaks. It was not related to anything to do with MASD equipment. There was actually flooding in Olympia, which took out the K20 network. When the K20 network came back online, it was discovered that part of the transmission of internet to us involves a tower in Oregon, and they didn't have power. So we didn't have internet for a long time. And that is why I had a picture of the PCIA owls playing cards, because that is what we did on that Wednesday before winter break. I actually sat in the gym with all of our freshmen, our sophomores, and some of our upperclassmen, and we played Uno and spoons and another game that I don't know what it was called for the entire day, because Wednesdays are a study hall and intervention day, all of which takes, we broke 4 spoons in the process.
Also, Miss Stickle is very brutal when it comes to playing spoons.
I will say, I'm not the one who dove across the table.
I heard you were pretty competitive.
We did put in a request for a 2-classroom portable with a bathroom. We had sent a letter of intent. I was really hopeful to put a different update on this. We were not the only district to ask for it, so we are not the chosen district to take it to. But there are more districts that are gonna have portables available, and we'll continue to look, because the cost of just relocating one and setting it up in comparison to purchasing one is a substantial difference.
Why do you need a portable bathroom?
It would be a portable,
And
it's a classroom,
It's a
so
classroom.
another portable building with a bathroom for outside.
Okay, thank
Some-
you.
Although I'm sure some of our littlest friends would love it if we could put a portable bathroom on the playground, so they didn't have to take as much time out of it. Hopefully you all got a chance to read through the Little Forest update proposal that I gave you last month. I haven't heard any concerns or feedback, and the safety committee will be reviewing it. They meet tomorrow. I will say I have very positive feelings about the proposal. I think it would do a lot of good, so we'll let the safety committee make a recommendation. And we'll go from there.
Yeah.
And then, our roof repair. I mentioned that our roof material was bubbling, but we hadn't identified a leak, so we applied for an urgent repair grant, and that one was approved.
Hey,
So,
very good.
Initially, I
Awesome.
got an email that said we were denied. I was really sad. I was like, what are we gonna do? And then 2 days later, I got an email saying, we clicked the wrong button in grants. We're so sorry. You've actually been approved for $387,700. It'll take a few days for it to show up in EGMS, so
Oh, wow.
hang tight and then your money.
I
will
should
be
wear
there.
glasses. I thought.
So they're gonna
38
redo the whole.
That's the plan.
Very much for room.
The
No.
plan would be then that we can
Oh, we're gonna repair one
redo
little
those.
spot.
But we have no sense of what that would cost or what that looks like. That'd be then the next step is to engage somebody.
We actually, we do. So one of the lovely things that we are benefiting from is Ms. Lomax's husband works for CSG. And so we do have an inside line to some construction services and quotes and things like that. And he was kind enough to come out and walk the issue with Tim and
Excellent.
give us a pretty good ballpark, which allowed us to apply for a grant in an amount we knew would meet our needs.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I will say that we're definitely leveraging a lot of relationships
Mhm.
for things that are not my area of expertise. I mean, I don't know a ton about construction, so we either ask Troy or we ask my husband and we get the answers,
Right.
at least anecdotally, so.
Where does the grant come from?
From the state. Yep, so really excited and we'll continue to give you guys updates on that. But we'll be able to put a whole new roof on.
So under the titles that are FP this and FP that, what's FP?
Funding package.
Funding package. It still doesn't say where in the state the money comes from, but okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
Funding package, that's pretty simple.
And then it spins in, because I thought that would be.
Pretty cool, congratulations.
Thank you. We talked a little bit earlier about, actually the audit that, is why we have a thick stack of board, minutes. So that was the Washington State Auditor's Office, assessment audit. It's annual. What they ask of us changes. It's not, we always have to submit something. What they look for changes. We submitted on January 14th. I'm really proud of our team. We did not have to ask for an extension. And considering the amount of work that we had to do, that was fabulous. So I have to commend Jessica and Lisa and then Kristen, our business officer, for being able to put together a lot of the information they needed. This audit, it's limited scope. And it reviews our financial records and internal controls. So this is part of what they're looking to make sure that we're making sound decisions. And that we have internal controls in place to make sure that we're following all mandates and laws and everything else. So it is around public funds being managed properly, and it supports transparency and accountability. So the reports will be publicly available. And then also Washington School Improvement Framework, supplemental accountability was submitted today. For smaller schools like PCIA, we don't have enough students taking like state testing for them to really look at our data. So we often get asked to send in additional information. So there is a threshold of how many students have to take SBAC over like a 3-year period. It's highly unlikely we'll ever meet that threshold. So we'll just continue to be asked to do this supplemental accountability. And this is, I will say this year took me the 10 minutes they told me it would take me last year, because I was able to just upload our school improvement plan. So it was great, and I'm sure it will come back just fine. And then for some fun to end my report, family and community engagement, we had our December gingerbread assembly. Our guest judges were Sparky and Chief Creon. We also did winter break bags where we, each student left for winter break with a blue bag with their name on it, filled with goodies to keep them entertained, warm, and fed over the long break. We have our amazing booster club doing Owls After Dark, and we received an incredible donation that allows each PCIA student to have $20 to spend at the snack shack. That'll go a long way. We have our tea talk coming up on the 29th at 2 p.m. where anyone can just drop in and informally chat with myself and Ms. Lomax. And just want to make sure that everyone's aware that the January newsletter was sent out and is available on the website in case you want more information about what's going on. A quick look ahead, board retreat and trainings. We've talked quite a bit about negotiations. We've talked quite a bit about superintendent evaluation. We touched on that's going to be something that's coming up soon. We'll also be doing our school improvement plan mid-year check-in in the next couple months. And then already time to start thinking about the budget adoption process. So we've got a lot of work to do over the next few months. It'll be fun. And then I just want to thank the board again. And as we move into 2026, I want to thank you for your partnership, trust, and continued focus on what matters most, our students. The work highlighted this month reflects strong teaching and learning, growing student voice, and meaningful community engagement. While we remain attentive to fiscal and legislative developments, we are well positioned to move forward with purpose, collaboration, and a shared commitment to continuous improvement. And some fun pictures.
I think we ought to thank Jessica too, since she's been doing a lot.
Yeah.
Fun, yeah, absolutely. So,
Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you,
Well
Jessica.
done.
We've got some pictures of our door decorations, our
What are
assembly.
the candies from?
Those are the candies they used to decorate their
Oh, the
gingerbread houses.
Gingerbread
So,
house candy decoration.
yeah, and then, the PCIA, Village won the village competition this year. They were quite shocked last year when they didn't win, so they upped their game. Landon accepted the trophy on their behalf, the beautiful gingerbread apron. You can see our riveting game of spoons. And I just want to give a shout out to our fine arts department. Margaret has been doing a great job with our assemblies and really offering a lot of enrichment to students. So they played at our assembly as well.
That was a wonderful music concert. It was well attended. There were hardly any empty seats. It was very nice.
Oh yeah, I didn't even, yeah, the music concert.
Oh, great.
That's great. So that's my very lengthy report, but I think I covered on everything.
Pretty cool. Thank you.
So interestingly enough. Is it EGMS or whatever that, yeah. Because it's a leak and it's urgent. It falls under that OSPI grant system for, damage to public building or whatever. If it had been deferred maintenance, or we're saying this is gonna wear out, we need it replaced in the next year or two, no coverage.
That's
But-
right. What leak are you talking about?
Roof.
The
roof
issue with the roof.
Or the roof
Yeah, I
bubbling.
mean, you really can't
Oh,
understate
bubbling.
how big that is. With, respect to our capital funds, Bogdan.
Yeah,
That's-
huge.
Oh yeah, when I got the denial letter, I was
Yeah.
Boy, that was a rough
fun.
one,
What are
cause
we
I
gonna
could
do?
not believe we would get denied for the issue, like,
Mhm.
right? Like, that's not a small issue.
No.
And we
So-
hadn't noticed the bubbling, and if we had not known about it until it did leak, we would have a hard time justifying that it wasn't deferred maintenance rather than, it's hard to say, the bubbling,
Yeah.
the impact,
And
but
we,
yeah.
yeah, we did go through all
We
the
got
steps
on
to
it
ensure that
really
it wasn't
fast.
under warranty and it wasn't like, right, we.
Well, and the
all
fact that it
tested
is
for
a more recent thing would kind of speak against deferred maintenance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, it's good job, Kelly.
Thank you. The next thing on the agenda is, I also need, so let me just, it's the calendar, the 26-27 calendar. I'm not asking for any action tonight. I just wanted you guys to have time to look at it and send me any feedback that you have. So it's just something to take with you and look at, and then I'll we'll have it on the February agenda for, board, approval. I will say that it is in the current CBA to have it available for members to review by a specific time. However, going into negotiations, union leadership had said that they would like to defer their approval of it until negotiations. And while I understand that position, I also feel like, even if we discuss it first, we wouldn't be putting out a board approved calendar until late March at earliest, or April. And so I did let them know I would be bringing it forward to the board based on the current CBA. And I believe it fully aligns with the CBA we're operating under when the calendar was written. And if there are any changes during negotiations, I expect they would be really minor. But I thought getting it out for families was a priority. So if you could take a look at it, and then in February, I would ask that the board, votes, on it to approve it or not.
we have the 3 snow days, which is same as we have this year.
Mhm.
We haven't had any, have we?
Well, we build in 3 to the school year every year, because 3 is the minimum you have to make up before you can ask for an exception to shorten the school year. So if we had 10, if we had a massive snow event and we missed 10 days of school, we have to make up 3. And then we can ask the state to give us an exception to the 180-day year. So we will, it will always be my preference to build the 3 into the school year instead of putting them on the end, so that families can rely upon when school.
I
will get
thought
out.
if you put 3 in, but it doesn't snow all year, do you?
Then they're just days off. Then it would just, which is why we like to put them around breaks. Right, so if we don't need to use a snow day, then we would have an extended spring break and an extended Memorial Day weekend.
I get it.
So our last day of school would be the 11th then.
Correct.
Better hope it doesn't snow in June.
And
Last
then
day
you
of
can see
school's the 11th. Oh, or June, okay.
we added, on this calendar, we added kind of the rounded cornered rectangle, like October 7th, November 20th. Those are, like end of grading periods. One of the other things we started this year was we were sending out 30-day progress reports for PCIA. So the first grading period would end on October 7th. And then parents would get progress reports sometime around the week of the 12th. And same thing in November, the next grading period ends on November 20th. We'd be able to send out progress reports before we leave for the long Thanksgiving weekend. And then the semester break would be Thursday, January 21st. With the grading day directly following. And starting semester 2 on the 25th.
So 4 days before school starts and 1 day after for teachers, is that normal?
It's in the CBA that they have 7 supplemental days.
But that's only 5, right?
And then the 9th and the 22nd.
Oh, the 9th
So
and the
there's a
22nd,
grading
okay.
day.
Okay,
And then there are 3 professional development days. And then like, time for teachers to set up and close their classrooms.
okay,
So there will always be a break in between semesters because that's a monumental task to complete and get report cards ready. And for some reason, the 23 will not print. I don't know how many times we've done it. I mean, Lisa has also, we've made a lot, I've changed my mind a few times, but, we have probably printed this at least 7 times and cannot figure out why the 23 will not print. It is on the screen. It is even on her print preview. It
really?
just will not show up
That is weird.
on the paper.
Just for those 2 months?
Just for the, yes, consistently prints this way no matter what.
Is it Excel or what document is it?
It's Excel.
Is the cell set to white color?
Well, John, I don't know, but we'll find that, we'll get that answer, cause.
That would override whatever is printed in it.
Okay,
So if you clear the color from the cell, set it to like blank or no color.
The
that might
transparency.
be-
We'll have
We
to
will-
check that.
we'll
So
check
what-
that
What
tomorrow.
application is this in?
Excel.
Excel.
So,
Excel, okay.
worth a shot anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I mean, I would much rather figure it out than publish one with a handwritten 23 in it, so we will find the answer. So please review it, send me any questions that you have. And then we can discuss those next month and hopefully move forward with, board approval.
Awesome. Yeah, I just, hard to get your mind wrapped around. We have to start talking about next school year already. But we gotta get ready for the budget. So next, anything else before we get to resolutions? Any questions?
For next, we move on to resolutions,
I think that's next on Kelly's report and
lose 20 pounds.
I have a copy
Run every day.
in the approval folder, so.
Read 15 books. Read 15 books.
So do you want me to introduce the resolutions?
Yeah.
Okay, so the first resolution that Kelly has prepared for us is for the 25-26 school year. Saying it is hereby resolved that Kristen Coral, ESD 112, business manager for the Millie School District, is the district designee responsible for directing the county treasurer on investment of district funds for the 25-26 school year. And so that then is all it says up there, if anybody wants to read it in detail. We do that every year. I don't know why we don't do it at the beginning of the year, but
We will next year. We put it on the to-do list for August and for next year.
there's too many things on the to-do list for a board. It's just phenomenal. The next one is establishing an investment officer for Millie School District number 31 for the 25-26 school year. And whereas the Board of Directors for Millie School District held their board meeting on January 20th. Whereas the Board of Directors find it in the best interest of the district to implement administrative guidelines and authorizations to transact district business. Whereas the board has determined that these guidelines and authorizations shall be administered by the superintendent or their designee. Whereas these guidelines and authorizations shall be implemented effective September 25th, 2024, and remain active indefinitely unless otherwise revised by a majority action of the board. Did somebody else write this resolution? Is this a sample?
It's a repeat. It's an update.
Because it's a
It was
resolution, but it
odd-
says it can be revised by majority action, not by a further resolution. That's just by one
Was it this?
So now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Directors of Millie School District, Skamania County, Washington, does hereby authorize Kelly Stickles, Superintendent, to act as investment officer and to direct the investments of the agency with the Skamania County Treasurer. Approved by the Board of Directors on the 20th day of January 26.
One of the things that brought both of, well, one's just annual, one of the things that brought up the other, to our attention was, we are required, to move to being able to do some, electronic deposits with the county treasurer. The state is requiring that of us, so we had to go through, a few different steps, and this is part of that process, is making sure we get these in.
So I just found it kind of interesting that we are doing this by resolution. I'm sure that's mandated. But if we want to change it, it doesn't take a resolution.
So what are you investing in?
It's just to be able to move the money with the treasurer.
You're not
No, I'm not.
going on.
No,
I know.
oh, no,
Okay,
Weed
to
teachers.
do payroll, to be able to do payroll, to make sure people get paid.
okay.
So in a way, the Skamania County Treasurer is our bank.
Yeah. So we don't use like like traditional, we're not like with,
No CDs and
yeah. We have to run everything through the treasurer. And we now need to do more of that activity with direct deposit and electronic funds transfer as is now required of us. And so part of that process, we were asked to bring this resolution to the board. Because I have to, like, I'm signing the,
Say that it's, we're authorized.
different documents that impact like payroll, like the time cards and things like that.
so what is the specific difference between what Kristen tells the county to do and you tell the county?
I don't tell them much. She
Oh,
doesn't.
okay.
Are you looking for a, motion on either of these, or you wanting to include them as a single motion?
Either way is I'll just pass them to the other side in case anybody else wants to take a look at them, but I think that, they were both presented. You could say resolution number, whatever the numbers are presented or.
I move that we approve resolution number, whatever the numbers are, that's presented.
Okay.
I think it's like 2 and 3. We haven't done a lot.
I would.
2026-2-1 and 2026
I think it was 1 and 2.
I'll read the numbers when they come back.
Let's see.
Yeah, this one's 2. And that one is either 1 or 3.
So having read them, I would second that motion.
1, yeah, resolution 1.
This is our first.
Cause
board meeting.
January,
Yeah, it's our first board meeting. I guess.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm thinking school year, but yes, it is by calendar year on these.
So it's been moved and seconded to accept the resolution 25-26-001 and 25-26-002 as presented. Any further discussion?
Is it 25-26 or 2026?
It does say 25, 26.
Got it. Okay,
I think it says,
I'm pretty sure we did one last year. Yeah, I remember doing them. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Anyone opposed? All right, thank you very much. We'll get those out of the way, part of our important responsibilities to keep us moving smoothly forward. The treasurer will be very happy to see those. She's probably the one that called and said, where are they?
sometimes we just do as we're told.
Ooh, just throwing that in. Somebody.
All
read
right,
like
thank
this blue and blue ones.
So, time to move on to policies. Oh, goodness.
Names on here, it's not. I think we're okay on
Okay.
these.
Okay.
If not, we can bring them back next month.
People are bringing in
You
bootleg,
can't bring your
bootleg,
own pins, people.
bootleg black pens.
Yeah, but
Sign stuff.
who's got the black pen? Who do we have to?
Go in, John.
Who do we have to retrain?
No, that's okay. I think.
If we get in trouble,
We'll let you know.
send them to your house and then we'll bring it back next
We
week.
better get a policy in place.
That's what
Let's not do any extra.
Speaking
My,
of policy,
my policy backlog is, it's gross, I will tell you, it's really gross.
all right, well, guess what?
Here we
It
are,
is-
policies.
It is time to have a serious discussion about policy number 3241, student discipline.
I will, say that we did not reprint a whole new copy after the first read, when it was pointed out that, I'm sorry, these don't have page numbers on them. I will add the page numbers, before we publish the policies. But on the third page, in the first paragraph that is not completely, struck, that starts with "the district will develop." Towards the bottom of that paragraph, it says "upstate." I have notes to change it to "update."
Oh, okay.
But we didn't reprint all brand new ones with that correction.
I have a question about why we deleted so much.
Following, WASDA's model policy guidance, with the language that, they determined as a model policy. I've talked with, like Curtis, our attorney, on a few different occasions about different things. But in some of those conversations, his recommendation to me was, to use WASDA model policy unless there is a, strong reason not to. And so, unless I see a really strong reason to change what WASDA is recommending as their model policy, I will most typically bring the board, a version of the model policy. And then, if there are any changes that the board requests, we can do that, but, I think their legal team does a pretty good job of ensuring that the policies are written in a way to comply with all of the RCWs. And often, Jones, they sometimes will write the same thing in a different order.
Yeah.
They'll just move things and then they'll have to strike it in our policy and put it in someplace different to show the changes.
So as you digest this one, I know we're on, I think this is the second reading, Kelly, but, so apologies if this is a repeat, but anything in this particular policy that you would find would be materially different in just the day-to-day operation of the district, or that would cause you to do something different, or
So
cause concern to you?
I have no concerns about this policy, as presented. I believe, Jessica, do you know, I think there was was this the one that the procedure was not? Do you have, behind your tab, do you have,
I don't remember.
3241P? I don't think you do. Okay. So because we've held on to these for so long, I haven't gone through and made the changes to the administrative procedures. We've kind of been putting a lot of policy updates on hold. And once I realized we were putting them on hold until we kind of switched over, I wanted to get a feel for the new board dynamics. But what I will do when I bring the new policies is I will put updated drafts of the procedures as well, that they align with the changes of the policy. I personally have no concerns about it as written. I think especially in the area of discipline, it's important to follow WASDA's guidance because it is changing very fast. And so I wouldn't be surprised if we revisited this in the same school year. But in areas that I know they are looking, to ensure districts are complying, I think that their guidance is the way to go.
Okay.
You'll also notice that, there's a classification
on the
Mhm. And they recently changed.
essential to critical, like essential isn't a thing anymore, right?
Right, exactly, so I,
And priority isn't a thing either.
I don't think we will be coming to you with, just that change,
No.
ever, but yeah. That is something you'll probably see on most policies for the next couple of years as we get through all of the updates that they provide to us.
I have to say, I like the things that. I'd like to see those things that they deleted in it. I think it's easy to understand and specific about what needs to be done.
So some of the red that they took out, you'd like to see back in there.
Yes. Providing a safe environment for all students and for district employees. Where is that? You know, in the. I just think it's more explicit and clearer what we want.
So I'll say, so, and this is a good example of sometimes they just moved things, and often what they will do is they will realize there are redundancies in policies as well. So this policy, is in the student section. So it should really be addressing students, and so if you look up above, the first red line. Adds in providing a safe and supportive learning environment for all students. And all policies that start with that are in the 3000s are directed directly towards students, and then there's another one that's towards employees.
Okay, I'm lost.
On the very first page,
On the first page,
the very first red line, number 1.
yes,
Has most of that sentence in it. It starts with providing a safe and supportive learning environment for all students, which was just struck down below, and they moved it up. They added it above some of the other language, and they did not put back in, the recommendation is not to put in "and for district employees," because that would be covered in an employee
oh, okay.
policy.
So one of the original comments I had was on the last page on distribution of policies and procedures, where I thought we should say something in there about having this on the website. But one of the things that I've noticed that Kelly has made some major revisions to the website, and in her newsletter that she puts out to teachers every week has a link to all policies.
Mhm.
And then I don't know about newsletters to families that go out once a month or something.
It's not in there, but they do have access to our policies if they.
It's on the website. They could go to the website where there's a link to the
Yeah,
policies.
they can also just email anyone in the office and tell us what they want, and we would supply it to them.
It's interesting that this is one of the few policies that have something about its distribution, but it's important that
Mhm.
with student discipline, that the policy is distributed
Extremely important.
to the students and parents.
I think it is
More,
important. and
it's more than just transparency of our policies, it's the.
But I think it's also referenced, I did read it, but I don't remember what it said in the student manual or their handbook, in the student handbook. I don't know if you remember how it's in there, but I just.
About student discipline or, I, off the top of my head, I wouldn't
Yeah,
know
I
the
can't
language,
remember either,
but,
but I know that there is information in there on it.
oh, there, yeah.
But I think the links that you provide to staff and to families is really critical. The more that we can do so that they don't have to initiate action, the better off we are. Because the more you leave for parents and students to initiate action, the less likely they will initiate that action, and so the less informed they will be.
And there are, policies that are required to be like individually stated on the
Right,
website.
mhm.
A lot of those have to do with, the civil rights, policies and, information about the different coordinators. So those all have their own section on the district website, as well.
So maybe, just because this is the first time for me, I think reviewing a policy in a board meeting, at least on my service here on this board. Two thoughts. One more simple. One is that I would still be a proponent. I can't remember quite where we left off on it. I don't think it's something we have to do now, but I think it would be useful to be working in a direction where all of our policies are sort of compiled in an electronic fashion and logged that way, and even, changes can be tracked easier. I just think, because as I understand it, or at least more, somewhat recently, I think we just had these all in paper form. And it got a little bit unruly and difficult to, not that electronics without its issues, but I think it would be easier to make available to everybody, to the public.
We do have an
Okay.
electronic of all of our policies.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
they
that-
are
that
all,
is
they are
what we do,
all available.
I probably just
That-
need some navigation on the
Yeah.
website to how to get to those.
And that is the link that Anita's talking about, that is even embedded directly in the weekly newsletter, which you should start to see pop up in your.
I do see that, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a section that's like policy and board updates. There's a little link there that
Okay,
will take you into the online policy manual,
Okay.
all 6 books of it.
okay, so they're all on there, so that's excellent.
They are all available so every time we make a change, like the process, like from start to finish is, I get the information that the policy has been updated. I go through, I redline it, I bring it to the board. We discuss it first, second read, and then, adopt it. After that, I go back, I clean it back up. And then Lisa gets it embedded into the master online copy and prints a new copy for the book. So it's both updated in paper
Mhm.
and online every time we make any changes to either policy or procedure.
Okay.
So we have a really solid system of getting that electronic version updated. Like we have very clearly labeled steps that we follow after each board meeting to make sure that anything.
It's not just the scanned in version.
Yeah, no,
Right.
it's,
It's,
True, like
It's a
PDF.
true PDF.
Okay, that's fantastic.
And the procedure
drive,
with it.
it is in the drive. Yeah, the board members have a significant amount of ways to access it, but
Yeah,
yeah,
okay,
And the
so that's,
procedures are with each policy.
correct. Yeah, so in the paper book, when you open it to policy 3241, the very next document would be administrative procedure 3241P.
okay,
And the paper book, I'm sure, is our legal copies of our policies, rather than the digital form.
I can double check that because my understanding is
I think the
the
electronic.
opposite, the electronic form, because that's everything that OSPI asks us for is to that.
Oh, that's interesting. Our minutes can't be, the legal can't be a recording, I guess.
Correct. And it all has to be uploaded onto the website.
Mhm.
Like our
But
minutes
legal
all have to be
minutes are-
publicly available for multiple years versus the recordings have to be available for one.
so I think then kind of my second comment that's maybe a little bit more philosophical, I guess, is I think the board over the last couple of years, or at least as of recent, we've had a number of discussions where this issue has come up of like, do we change this? Like, maybe there's a preference or even maybe a strong preference for wording to change in some of the policies and then kind of how does that play with these WASDA policies from the state and kind of their mandating it? And I would say that like personally, I'm a little bit of two minds. Like, I feel like the board is the instrument through which the policies of the district is played out. Like, we are the people that decide, we're elected to decide what are the policies of the school. And so it would seem like, right, we should have maybe more flexibility to do this or to do that and to change. And yet at the same time, I feel like the reality is that the laws of the state and what have you have constraint on our ability to do that, right? Like, to be compliant with the law as a district, we have to work within a certain framework. And I think then that's where these WASDA policies come in to try to get us in compliance with that, at least that's what they think. So I have some question about that, but I think that's sort of what we would hear from the attorney of like, this is what we need to do. I don't know that I have a huge kind of dog in that fight, like I'm ambivalent on it a little bit, but I think where the only points that I would get more excited is where I see something about our district that really diverges from what the policy or the procedure really that they would model maybe doesn't work for us. And of course, this came up a few years ago with some issues that came up in the district where I saw that divergence more clearly. And so I think when those things come up, I would be more inclined to be like, you know what, we need to do this different or craft this different because we are, like any district, we have unique things about our district. Other things, I might agree with kind of the semantics of one thing versus another, or maybe things that make, it's simpler or makes more sense. But I just don't know, like, I just don't know if it has high enough priority to kind of diverge from these model policies. And it's sort of why I asked the question I did of Kelly of like, in the policies that they're proposing, what does it really change? If it's one way versus the other, does it significantly change something? Does it cause concern for how we might do something in the daily operation of the school?
Yeah, I don't feel like we have to adopt WASDA,
Mhm.
but I also feel like anytime we don't, there's a cost.
Mhm.
And that cost is an administrative cost. That cost is then we should probably, depending on what it is, look at the legal cost.
Mhm.
And we are also, we're responsible for the policies. We're also responsible for the financial, for the fiduciary responsibility of us as a district. And so it ultimately is a cost benefit analysis type of equation where is varying, like the cheapest thing we can do is adopt model policies.
Mhm.
The cheapest administratively. Now we don't have to keep track of where we visited, but a change of law comes down to us and we have to look at like what we did versus what the change of law is and what we did previously, how that goes into place.
Right.
But if there's significant value in a change, we also have the responsibility to say, maybe it's worth the cost on this one
Mhm.
and this other one and this next one. So
Right.
where is it worth the cost? Because I'm gonna, and I also don't want to put us on some of the biggest, stickiest wickets.
Mhm.
There's also, we have to look at what our legal liability is, and some of those types of things. So not just do it, but do it with counsel and with advice of counsel and fully aware of what decisions we are making for this school and where we want to go. And where I would come down on like some of the stuff, like something that doesn't materially change anything about how we operate day to day, it doesn't seem worth the cost in many of those situations. And Kelly has a lot of things to do, and maintaining change tracking on these policies that change with every single change in law and change in court decision.
Mhm.
Like, let's minimize where there isn't, or the cost or the benefit isn't outweighed. So I do think we have been at times, and I've pushed the other side, like, we are not automatically subject to adopt every policy.
Mhm.
If something is important and if something affects how we do things here, let's have that discussion and do our job about what's important.
Well, there's several things that are keys, and Eric mentioned one. If you look at the bottom, it tells you whether it's critical or not. Two, you can look at the laws that are referenced.
Mhm.
And so there are some policies where we could say anything we wanted because there's no law we're implementing. Like, we don't want to say anything we want, and obviously, there's a lot of things to think about. But if you take a few steps back on the way the state created the school districts, they created the responsibility of the board to write policies to meet the needs of the taxpayer district. It's the public that provides us with the information
Sure.
on how we create policies and how we run our school. Now, in my layman's explanation, we have been totally overrun by state law. So there's very little choices we have in many, many cases. And it puts a real burden on us, as everybody's well aware today, even, it's a huge burden on us. Because we are forced to implement policies that implement state law that could potentially be in violation of federal law. So it's a terrible situation. But like Eric says, I understand where WASDA comes from, but the frustrating thing is they're writing a policy for every single district in the state, and we're all very uniquely different, and we're kind of tied to our unique differences. But from Curtis's standpoint, who is our attorney's name is Curtis,
Mhm.
great guy. He's looking at it, can he defend it in court? And what will we have to do to defend it in court? And so obviously we want to listen to him because if he's in a situation of having to defend us, we want him to have the best reasonable chance of being successful in our defense. So there's a lot of things to think about. And each of us comes in from a different angle. I go through it and take out that, all the extra that's in there, and just so hard to read. So there's a lot of little things we each would do to make it a better document in our viewpoint. But we have to, and it's hard for me, I have to take my steps back and look at the policy should be pretty simple and straightforward. And the procedures are the key. And so I find it very hard. It's hard to read when you've got all the cross outs and that kind of stuff. And it's hard to read and step back and not like, you might remember I mentioned not too long ago, it kind of had a mission phrase telling how we thought. And I didn't like WASDA writing how we thought. I think that's, a little beyond, but I can see why they do it. So it's a very, I hate policies. It's really hard to do the best job possible.
Will say, John, to your point about tailoring it to our district, one thing that I've noticed in my time in this role is that like Anita was just mentioning, the policy in and of itself, what I feel like I see with a lot of the changes that are coming through to WASDA is that they are looking to eliminate redundancies or contradictions or right. And then in the model procedure, because they also offer model administrative procedures,
Right.
there is a lot more on those that says like, fill in this with this information that meets your district.
Right.
Right? And so that's where the day-to-day operations piece comes in of how Relay School District does it. And so and again, part of why I didn't do that this time is because I want to get a feel for what the board is looking for when I do that, so that I can follow the pleasure of the board, right? In writing those procedures, because from just a strict standpoint, the board adopts policy. And then there's the administrative procedures, which, can be brought to you guys for comment or whatever, but you don't vote on procedures, right? So it's really important for me to hear these conversations and get a feel for what we want. And then that's how I can tailor the procedures and then present them to you. And if there is concern, we can have discussion around them. But
Right.
that's where the nuance comes in of what we do here and why it works.
Why don't you, federal law is not the same as the state law and we go against it, what are we gonna do?
I don't know what you're gonna do, Bill, but that's happening and I will tell you for, superintendents all around the state, that's a really big challenge. It's a conversation that's being had. If the board chooses to adopt a policy that goes against state law, there are the administrator who is following that policy is in a difficult situation. If state law goes against federal law and you're a large district like Vancouver, you might get the
Does federal law overrun state law?
I'm not
I
a
don't
lawyer,
think
so
so.
I'm not gonna answer that, but
Are you a federalist or you-
those
you know?
conflicts come up,
They're coming.
they are. And I will say, I think that we've done a really good job of navigating some of those. I think if you remember last year, there was a policy that involved language around Title IX that we adopted 3 different versions of over a 5-month period because of specifically that situation, right? And so when those come up, I will definitely like try to point that out if I'm aware. This one doesn't, thankfully. I think we managed through quite a bit of that. But there are several larger districts in the state of Washington right now that are being looked at by the Department of Education. And I do believe that to the best of their ability, WASDA tries to help us navigate that tricky spot. But you know, when and if that comes up, it will be up to the board to decide if there's a conflict, which they want to follow.
And we have had some of those situations and some situations where we went to our lawyer.
Mhm.
Where we wanted to be at we wanted to follow the law, but we felt like the model. Especially with coming change in law, was going a little bit farther than what the law was, and so in that case, we spent some legal money. But we need to be judicious about that, right? We don't want to waste our district's resources
No,
either.
but we gotta be thinking ahead. When that time comes, what are we gonna do?
Depending on what happens, we may have some policies we'd be very excited to go back and change, but at this point, we kind of just lay low because the state is very serious about threatening to take away your money. And there's no reason for us to be in that situation because at this point, we haven't had the situation where a student is potentially harmed because of those differences. And so we're doing real well right now, but you're absolutely right. You know, of course, it's entirely possible that Washington State won't get the federal money they're used to getting as well. And that could or could not impact us. I think, again, we're a district sitting in a much better position than many districts if we do not get all the state funding that normally comes to the state from DC.
Well, and I think to synthesize some of the thoughts, like I think I agree with elements of what everybody's saying, like. I think there is a cost benefit, like frankly. I mean, I'm all for addressing, like, if we have a policy thing that comes up and it's really important, like, we should address that forthrightly, especially if it's affecting, like, in a real way, our district, its students, its staff. But like, on the balance, I'd rather be dealing with the stuff we were talking about 15-20 minutes ago. Like, that's exciting. Like, where's our district going? How are we getting better? How can we serve our students better? Like, that's where it is for me. And of course, I believe that at some level, the policies that we've implemented are gonna have some effect on that, but a lot of times it's just, I think we're more removed from that. So it is a bit of a cost benefit to be like, how do we focus our own time? As we're, confronting all the things, like, we'll never get to exhaustively all the things that we could be doing, so we have to prioritize the most important things, I guess. And so anyway, those are sort of some thoughts, at least for me personally, how I approach these policies.
There's been a couple of times where there's been a question of the way our policy is written, is it written to meet the needs of both middle age school and PCIA? But I think that most of those situations are in procedures, and we have seen that where we recommended procedures be modified. One set for PCIA and one set for middle school, because when you're talking sometimes about, you know, a 6-year-old versus a 16-year-old or something. And that comes up in the next policy. One question I wanted to ask Kelly, in the grading progress reports, is this going to meet the needs of PCIA? And of course, in the policy, it shouldn't have to have the detail that would make a difference between the two schools. And I think if we keep that where we're a step up, rather than getting into the details of grading requirements, and the differences between the two schools, we put that into procedures, and that we're doing fair and equitable, whatever the right words are, for our grading method or grading approach.
Absolutely a great example. So there is a model policy and model procedure for the next one for 2420, and there's a 2420P. In reviewing 2420P, I realized that it does not meet the needs of the situation. So we will be looking at, and I will, when they're complete, after I know what direction we're going with this, we will have a 2420P1 and we will have a 2420P2 to separate out our secondary and our elementary grades and the grading and progress report practices and the procedure for that, because they are different, right? I mean, you're talking about at the secondary level, you're talking about letter grades. At the elementary level, you're talking about mastery based. They don't, sometimes the language around that doesn't always align. So there is definitely a need to delineate kind of what we're doing, and then poor middle school falls kind of in the middle. And so as I'm looking at how do we do the procedures on the grading and progress reports, there was just no way to do it in one document. That made sense. And so there'll be a secondary procedure and an elementary procedure, and middle school will be mentioned in both. So that will kind of provide more clarity for our district on how we will follow the policy that is got quite a bit of RCWs behind it. Especially grading is something that's, discipline and grading are both two topics that are changing dramatically in education as a whole. And so we need to make sure that those shifts work for us. But these are two perfect examples for the discussion we're having today.
Good.
I would like this I think what you included here, I don't know, about the administrative procedures explains the role of administrative procedures really well. And it is your job to develop the procedures according to policy. We used to acknowledge receipt of procedure, right? That doesn't mean that the board, like if the board doesn't feel like the procedure meets the policy or any of that type of thing, and if the board is divided on whether it feels the policy meets or the procedure meets the policy, there may be a vote. It's not a vote to change or approve the policy. It would be more of like a vote to instruct you to further update the procedure in some direction, right? That would be the kind of thing that we may vote on regarding a procedure. We don't necessarily adopt procedures as a board.
Yeah.
So it's not like we have nothing to do with procedures, but we are delegating and hiring capable people to develop procedures to fulfill our policies.
And then the implementation of procedures is part of the evaluation process that we go through for our superintendent.
Right.
So if she has issues with implementation, she wants to have a goal regarding implementation, or we would like to see more information about implementation, that is all through the superintendent evaluation process. So how do you feel? Would you like to postpone these both until the next meeting? We didn't officially go on to policy 2420. I just brought it up, and then thankfully Kelly picked up on that and pointed out that example.
Well, I would say for my part, I'm not opposed to more deliberation on them, but I don't have any other feedback or comments on either of these policies after reading through them.
I'm willing to adopt them, but if somebody's wants more time to spend with them, then I'm willing to honor that as well.
Mhm.
How do you feel, Joan? Are you comfortable with the policies or are you wanting more time to consider? As a new board member?
I don't know that I really studied the grading one. But I trust Kelly.
Pardon?
I trust Kelly.
Well, on the grading one, we may have mentioned this before, but down at the bottom of the paragraph where the students don't get their grades if they don't pay their bills. As long as we have.
It may be, I mean, we're not,
Well, that's,
Yeah.
and I just want to make sure that we have a method to ensure that, there are options for students who are unable to pay.
And that's just saying,
I
it's,
don't think we've
it's-
ever, I think
And
we
it
have,
was
we have
motivating
told
for me
them,
to pay.
oh yeah, no, we tell them, we say, hey, policy says we can. So go run across the street and get a check from your dad. And it works.
although
However,
they may be like, I don't want that many grades.
well, in that case, we'd be like, yeah, we're not withholding yours, no, I'm just kidding. However, we're aware of families who have hardships and we have lots of avenues to support them. And we would never make a decision that would harm a child's next steps.
Sure, yeah.
So,
I'm okay to approve them right now.
Okay, so you were, want to make a motion?
I make a motion.
I second Bill's motion.
and I will add page number to
Policy.
both and adjust the word to update.
I second Bill's motion to approve policy 3241 and 2420 as presented.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve policy 3241 and 2420. Is there any further discussion? I don't believe we had any changes. Is that correct? Or did we have
Just
one?
that
We had
Just the
one.
update and,
Yeah.
which
Okay.
both of those technically, I would be able to fix easily.
Cleaning up because the ones we have show the corrected deletions and insertions. So any further discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, thank you. Let's move on to public comment.
I do have a question about the little forest, not knowing what the plan is or anything, but. Are students gonna be involved in anything? Cause they were highly involved in developing the little forest. So is there going to be?
It's like a cleanup to,
Remove the dangerous,
yes,
whatever.
yeah, we've had some, forestry experts come out and make some recommendations. And we are working with some, community members on like the waterway and like how to keep it in good repair. So students will be involved, but not necessarily with this
That
portion.
portion, okay.
We're looking, this is actually an avenue to be able to put kids out there in a safer situation. So right now we have a couple of trees that are leaning and could potentially take out a fence and possibly even an outbuilding structure, which is not a position we want to be in. But in reviewing that, we identified that the need is greater. And we're trying to do it in the most cost-effective way. So if we can get that to be a safe, accessible area, then we can increase our student use of it. So we've even been brainstorming different types of science courses that we could offer that would incorporate the fact that we have that on our campus. And then we would look for ways to move that in through the younger grades as well. So I'd love to see at some point some type of after like extracurricular activity around that. You know, we've done Earth Day things in the past. So there are lots of avenues, but we just need to make sure the space is safe to put kids out there first.
Are you gonna take the tree down? The
Mm.
trees down?
There would be some removal to make sure that it is a safe area. When we get those high winds, it's pretty scary.
Hmm.
And there are some trees that are not really viable that need to be removed. So we'll be really leaning into the forestry experts in the area.
So you're incorporating education?
Not in this phase of it,
Yes.
but ultimately we would like to have our students out there more. So I know right now our K-5 students take the walk on the path quite often. They've done like boat floats down the little creek back there and things like that. But I think we could really step up our game if the forest just got a little bit of management to it first, making it a more usable space.
But I thought you said that it was gonna be an education.
We'd like to incorporate more educational activities in it, not this space in and of itself is to allow for
Okay.
it
I
to be
see.
a more usable space for
Okay, thank you.
students. We can't take them out there right now on a high wind day. It's not safe. We really shouldn't be taking them out there necessarily when the ground is too saturated. It's not safe. We need to make it safe.
Last windstorm probably didn't help.
No, no,
Tim could do it, couldn't he?
no, there are some massive trees that need to be removed that are hanging over structures. That are on soft ground.
Oh.
Yeah, we've got, we don't have any like exposed root balls at this point, but we're very close to that. And we have some trees that have, rot and other issues that they're just not viable to stay. So,
Okay, good, get him out.
Yeah,
And then I had-
did that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I just wanted to let you know that, on Thursday, my class is going to be having some etiquette classes, or an etiquette class with Miss Debbie from Manners Matter, I think is this. And Social Springer, one of my parents, has set up a field trip for us. We're gonna go to Columbia Gorge Museum in Stevenson. And then Skamania Lodge is providing a lunch for us. And so they're going to get some etiquette training Thursday
Nice.
before we have our field trip next week.
Thursday.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
wow,
Pretty
cool.
excited. I have not sent out communication yet, so.
Good.
But I thought I'd let you guys know.
You mean like 2 days from now, Thursday?
Yep. We'll do etiquette, yes. We're spending an hour and a half with her. So
That's exciting.
during lunchtime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very cool opportunity for our
Yeah.
kids. I'm really
Yeah.
excited to see them with their little napkins on their little.
Yeah, it should be interesting.
They're picky.
Which, thank you for reminding me, if Barbie was here, she would have an update for you guys too, and I will share it. We had our bus safety inspection today. Which was fun, because when the sheriff pulled into the parking lot, a couple people were.
Good.
I'm like, no, they're supposed to be here, it's fine, nobody freak out. So,
Cool, that's really exciting, Jennifer. Anything else?
I think that's it.
Okay, well, we have document signing next, and then we will be going into an executive session. So I will pass the action folder around here.
What about,
setting a date for February.
Did I forget
Moving it
one?
to the Tuesday after.
You said we will.
We could do that. So in February, I noticed that somewhere I saw it was already labeled as the Tuesday after, which is,
Oh, that's on
is that
next
fine
year's.
with everyone?
That was on next year's,
Yeah, let's
we
do
just
it.
went ahead and moved it.
I would continue to prefer later that week. So President's Day is Monday, the 16th. We're, I think, needing to do a different day for our board meeting then as a result. I have some company in town, so I prefer it to be later that week if that were possible, but I feel like I believe there was a
We're
conflict with
running
somebody
into
else.
issues with payroll. Yep.
Payroll, thank you.
Yeah, so if we did
yeah.
it the 18th though, that should be in time.
Well, 18th might even be worse for me, so I think maybe then where we landed, if I recall, is maybe we're gonna leave it the 17th, but we were gonna try to keep the meeting a little bit brief.
Yeah, we can do that because we have,
A retreat on the seventh.
we retreat on the seventh, so,
Okay,
yeah.
And I would be happy to defer the next round of policies.
Oh, sure.
Seventeenth.
So, yeah, fill in the blank on our agenda to say the 17th. All right.
And that's.
So here's the signature folder. I'll let you two share it and then I'll put it the other way.
Don't start that, no, do all three. Anita, you voted, it was 5-0 for all our votes.
Yes, it is.
I feel like sometime ago. Vote should be filled out.
I suppose that would be.
If I slide it and then it gets filled out, it's like 17-2.
Weekend comments. Okay.
Anything like. If we're gonna do a policy something next week, you save it in the back, but. Doing
and there's that.
it, just that's.
And John, if there's anything in there you don't want, Jessica will refresh your binder for the next meeting. So if you don't want those documents, you can leave them and then recycle and put in new documents next.
There's the thingy there.
Okay.
And then if there's anything you want to keep, there's a tab at the back and we won't take anything out that's behind it.
It's interesting. That if the addition is less than $100,000,
You get
it would go up to 100,000. That's a crazy,
That's a, yeah,
cause like the addition for us, our total MSOC is like what, 112 or something?
it's not.
And like this addition would add another 8,000. Except for that phrase above the 100.
So that's great for.
We'll have to see if it survives.
Yeah.
There are probably a lot of schools that have less than 1,000 students.
Yes.
Well, I think it's by district. So there, I don't know, how-
There are a lot, there would be a lot, I think there'd be a lot of.
still a lot of
districts,
districts without 1,000 kids, okay.
yeah. I mean, in
Yeah,
all,
there are a lot of
pretty much
our
all the
area
rural
anyway.
areas.
There, but you. Even White Salmon probably has less, and Wicked and Lyle and all those
It's, might be.
close. I
That
don't
might
know.
be close. That might be close.
All right, thank you very much. So we will be going into an executive session at, where's my little clock thing here?
8:37.
8:37 for 30 minutes max, I would imagine.
White
Might take
Salmon's
us a little while, we might be super fast,
I'm ready for bed.
and that's the last thing on the. After. So we're for
Working
the
conditions.
purpose of the recording, it is 9:11 and we are back in session. And I don't believe we have anything else on the agenda to discuss. We set our next board meeting for February 17th at 6 p.m. So are we adjourned by consensus?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
We were a little excited about that.
Yeah.
Late and long. finishing this report last night, at me, same time, I'm like, this other process. I got home at 5 this morning, fell